The Astros clinch home field and are the favorites to win the World Series with the Dodgers and Yankees close behind. Two small market clubs will battle it out in Oakland while the Nationals attempt to get that proverbial gorilla off their backs. Joe Maddon and Buck Showalter are available, and I know someone who should be able to bring us some keen insight into where they might end up and why. We'll also give you the updated World Series futures, our picks, and much more on Prime Sports Baseball with Scotty Z and me for this Monday, the 30th of September, 2019 on the Prime Sports Radio Network, brought to you by Athlon Sports, the leading publisher of preseason annuals for more than 50 years, sold in 60,000 outlets nationwide, and Covers.com. Make sure to visit Covers Experts at experts.covers.com, and you can take 50% off any purchase by using the promo code PRIME50. That's PRIME50. Scott, Cubs.
That's me.
Orioles, out.
Ugh. Orioles
Yeah,
out.
They've been
Orioles
out for 2 years.
been out.
So Buck, who's been out for a couple years too, but Maddon, we knew he was going to be a free agent. The season's now over. So let's start with the fact that you've got two of the top names out there in the managerial market who both used to don hats for your two favorite teams.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta. If you see my my screensaver on my phone right now is thank you, Joe. So
Okay.
I mean, there it is, right, nice and close.
Right.
Well, it's
Yeah,
gone now. There.
All right, very nice.
Sad man. All I gotta do is say thanks to him and Theo. So it's sad.
Absolutely.
It's extremely sad. It's an end of an era, but from what it sounds like, it's the right move for the
Well,
clubhouse.
it's just the money. That's all it is. They don't want to pay
money.
Maddon what is he making? $5 million?
I couldn't even.
Well, that's what he was,
I
I think, making. Managers today over the last couple of years since he signed that contract, it's like all of a sudden owners in Major League Baseball have kind of gotten together, not collusion, but they've kind of agreed, whether it's right or wrong, that we're just not going to pay managers all that money anymore. We're just not going to do it, especially with analytics and all that kind of stuff. We got geeks working on the analytics. We pay them like $90,000 a year. Why am I going to pay a manager all that money when analytics do have to work?
Well, and GMs are really driving this stuff anyway these days. I mean, I hate to make the biggest example out of a guy who the team had the second best record in baseball, but Aaron Boone is pretty much Brian Cashman's puppet. So.
Okay. Well, that's not a surprise. Boone came right from the booth. He's done a good job, but we'll get into the Yankees in a minute. Let's talk about the coaching vacancies. First, start with Buck. Have you heard anything over the last couple of years on whether Buck's going to come back, and if he does, where it could possibly be where he would feel happy?
I've seen the only one I've seen with Buck's name next to it is the Phillies, which is close to. I mean, Buck and his wife Angie, they live in Baltimore now. You know, they bought a house. Angie, they have a charity run out of Baltimore, so Philly would, for him, be a good thing for him. I don't know if it's the right situation. I mean, he did have to manage a superstar in Manny, so now he gets another. I'm not going to call him a hothead, but another big name superstar in Harper. So that could be maybe-ish the right move.
That's not a bad one. And what about Maddon? Because Maddon, to me, has got to be the big hotshot candidate out there.
So first of all, Buck, I would say Buck's 30% that he even gets, that he even wants to. Let alone gets a job offer. Joe Maddon. There's also the Phillies. I saw the Mets. I saw the Angels, and so one of those guys possibly. And he was with the Angels for a season, so maybe he would like to go back.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense considering Ausmus was fired, and a lot of people were they didn't really get the hiring in the first place. So nobody expected Ausmus to do anything more than what you saw this past year. So what the first thing that popped into my mind was they did it because there's someone out there they want to go get. Otherwise, they would have just stuck with Ausmus.
I mean, the Angels make a lot of sense. You look at the talent that the Angels have. It is I mean, it's not as good as what the Cubs have, but it's getting there. It's comparable. There's a lot of young talent too, like Fletcher and Matt Thaiss. So I mean, and you mix that with Ohtani when healthy, completely healthy, and I don't think anybody would be able to manage Ohtani as a pitcher and hitter if Ohtani comes back to that form better than Matt, and he's got to be one of the best at stuff like that. And then you got, I mean, Trout, obviously, Upton. It's just a lot of big names, and I think he
Yeah, they
could,
need pitching
you
now.
know, guide them in the right direction. And they need. Let's be honest. No team in baseball deserves to have a better manager than the Angels with Trout. I mean, you just need it. We need Trout back in the playoffs so
Well, how
badly.
many more years on Pujols' contract when they can finally rid themselves of that money?
Well, rid themselves of that. Oh, come on. He's still what, hit 30 something home runs this year.
Yeah, but everybody hits 30
Right.
home runs this year. So how much? But it's a lot of money though, and I'm sure that they could use that money on pitching.
It's 2022, I believe, is his contract.
Oh.
2021.
All right,
2020.
couple more years. Bochy, there's no reason to think he's coming back. I mean, he
Bochy, I think
retired.
should sail off
Yeah, you should.
into the horizon with his 3 World Series championships.
Absolutely.
And just be the happiest guy in the world.
All right, and let's see. So the Royals job, there's Mike Matheny makes sense. I guess he's working with the organization. I think that's a really good call if that goes in that direction. The Padres job is a good job. You talk about a good job. Now I got to tell you, if I'm Madden, Padres are a better job than the Angels. The only difference is the Angels have Trout.
Correct. I don't know. I mean, the Padres, the Phillies, the Angels are going to be the 3 biggest one. We're still waiting to see what happens with Mickey Callaway. So,
well, the Phillies, why did they fire Kapler?
Kapler is, from what I've been reading, should be gone.
Well, okay. That's definitely a possibility. I get that. What about Girardi? Do you think Girardi's?
That's why I saw Buck Showalter's name next to the word Phillies.
All right. What about Girardi? You think he's coming back?
No, can't imagine.
Okay. Yeah, because if you like the broadcast booth, the amount of money that you can make doing that compared to what they're going to start paying you as a manager, yes, comparable. Why not? Why? Unless your driving force is a championship,
right.
Then why else would you want to come back?
Right, less stress, and you get to just enjoy baseball as a sport instead of having to, go crazy over your one team.
And Searage, now it's interesting that they say, well, Searage probably going to get fired. It's like, oh, wait. Why would you fire? Why would Huntington fire Searage until they hire a manager? This guy has been clearly one of the best pitching coaches in baseball for years. I don't understand that rumor at all that he's about to get fired. Why didn't you name him the coach for crying out loud?
No, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. No.
All right.
You got to see what happens. You got to see what happens. So I mean, obviously Hurdle was this guy. I can't believe he stuck around as long as he did.
Yeah, Huntington probably shouldn't have a job over Hurdle, to tell you the truth. He's the one that...
I don't think either one of them should have a job.
All right, well, one's definitely out. Let's go to the wild card matchups. First of all, in the American League,
good ones.
Tampa Bay and Oakland, the battle of the and I don't know where Oakland is on payroll. I know Tampa Bay's the 30th, so I don't know where Oakland is. They got to be close. I got to believe they're like, then again, a lot of these teams this past season decided to shed their payroll, which is why we had a lot of bad baseball teams. So Oakland might not be as in rough shape as they used to be.
23rd. Oakland's 23rd.
There you go. See, in the past, they were like on the bottom. All right.
Yeah.
Good matchup. You've got to me, the reason why I would favor Tampa is the starting pitching. Now, I know
Charlie Morton.
Yeah, I know.
It's already announced it's Charlie Morton, so I can't imagine. First of all, as far as I know, Oakland has yet to release. So, but it looks like it should be Mania. It looks like it's lining up, and he's
It
been
has to be. Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
unbelievable thing coming back. You know, he missed the first 5 months of that torn labrum. He had a huge surgery, and he's won 4 straight starts, just 4 runs allowed in
Has
24
to be him.
with 20. Yeah, it's got to be him, and he also hasn't pitched in 5 days, so I would imagine it's him.
It's on a much lesser scale comparison, but it's sort of like with Scherzer. It's like you got to pitch Scherzer. He's coming back from injury. He's now ready. Because if you don't pitch him and you lose, you get a criticism all day. Same thing with the A's. You got to. He's the best pitcher on the Fires. You got to give him a lot of credit, but he's not Manaea. So
No.
All right. So
Manaea is the guy, in my opinion. Obviously, Oakland's bullpen is just. I mean, Trevino with multiple cracked ribs this week, so that's
Treinen's
just
out.
another guy. Treinen's not been great, but he is out.
Yep.
So obviously now you got to figure out is it Lance Hendricks, is it Yasmero Petit, or is it Joaquin Soria? Which one of those guys at the back end? Maybe all 3 of them, because Manaea certainly hasn't gone deep in these starts. Again, he is coming back from a torn labrum, but I got to think if he's going well, they'll let him go until he really gives an indication that he shouldn't be going anymore.
All right, offensively, Tampa is where they are at because they've made some shrewd moves. Meadows, Pham, even Garcia from the White Sox. So now all of a sudden you got an offense, but
Brandon Lau's back. Don't forget Brandon Lau's back.
But when you compare them to the A's and Simeon, Chapman, and Olsen, that's a different. I'd much rather have the A's top 3 guys than the Rays. But as we said, much rather have Morton than Manaea, just because Morton's been there and done that in the postseason. Who do you like?
I like Oakland. I like Oakland because I like their lineup. So except for in the World Series, this is crazy. Except for in the World Series and that one ALCS game, Morton has not had the best. He started 7 games in the playoffs. 4.60 ERA, 2-2. But I mean, it's that 1.74 in the 2 World Series appearances that really dropped that 4.60 down. So, I mean, again, he's been fantastic this year, but so we'll have to see. But I like you said, I like the A's lineup, really, really strong.
Home.
They definitely got, and they're home. They're home. They got the power. Don't forget about Matt Olson, who's, shot out of a cannon, essentially. So, and then don't forget about Ramon Laureano, the 24-year-old kid who's just been unbelievable, and he's stealing bases. I mean, this is the kind of guy, the kind of catalyst you want in the playoffs.
All right, so Oakland is a short favorite, -143. Tampa Bay, the dog, at +133. Let's go over to the National League, and Milwaukee will go with Woodruff. Scherzer, they're a heavy favorite, -180 to +170. Woodruff has experience in the postseason, but if we take a look, his road record this year, 4.41 ERA in 9 starts. He's only pitched, and the Brewers will do this occasionally, and I think they're going to do it tomorrow night. Woodruff is going to pitch 3 innings. That's all he's going to pitch.
If he's going well,
but that's what they did last year, and it took him out after 3 innings.
I would assume at an absolute maximum of 5. They definitely won't see.
No matter how good he's pitching, you're right. Even if he's pitching well, no more than 5.
Yeah, because they won't let him see 3 turns
correct.
in the lineup.
Yes.
Like you said, he's been good. 1.46 ERA in 4 appearances in the postseason. Obviously, Scherzer's making his 14th playoff start, 3.73 ERA. So you got to go with experience. Kane, busted up his shoulder sliding into the plate. He's probably not going to play. Braun might be done for the entire postseason. He strained his calf running to first base this week.
But
so depleted roster.
We could see them both out there. It's possible.
Also, I mean, let's just not forget that the Brewers legitimately had a chance to win this division.
They did.
They had in the biggest moment of the season. So I say one of the most shocking outcomes of a single plate appearance that I've seen in a long time was David Ross, the potential manager of the Cubs, his home run off Andrew Miller in Game 7.
Agreed.
That was until I saw Hilliard hit a homer on a 2-strike count off a Hader opposite field, with Hader trying to win them the division. And then, of course, Story hit the walk-off an inning later. So Brewers had it blew it. They had won 18-20. 18-20 they had won.
And now they've lost
Until
2
they
out of
faced-
3.
All they had to do was win 1, maybe 2 games against the Rockies. They couldn't do that. They got swept.
Well, one of those first 2, because if they would have won one of those first 2 and they would have tied St. Louis, they would have had the lead, and we would have had that 1-game playoff in Milwaukee. So,
Yep.
But whatever. Fact is that the Brewers and actually, I think St. Louis had the could have been in St. Louis. But the fact is that psychologically, you go from losing a game like that, where you could have won the division, you could have been in this stress-free situation where you don't have to have a 1-game deal, and then also you've got the injuries that could have given these guys an extra few days rest. Now you've got the injuries. You've got Yelich. This is a team playing in their 3rd ballpark over the last 7 days, 8 days. So this is like this is really like a 3rd stop on a road trip. This is a long road trip for Milwaukee if you really look at it as well. So there's a lot of stuff going against Milwaukee. And everything going right for Washington with 8 straight wins, which is a season high. They're as healthy as they've been all year. Everything couldn't be going better for Washington in this matchup.
Doesn't that scare you?
And you know why that just frightens the bejesus out of me, and why look, even if they're not my favorite team, I always say this with teams that can't win the big one, until you do it, prove it to me, I'm not picking you. And this isn't a 5-game series. This is a 1-game series, 1 game, that's it. I'm not picking them. Now, if they win the game, watch out. Then the pressure's off. Nobody's going to – well, people think that they'll give the Dodgers a run, but I think the pressure will be off, and I think they'll be a dangerous World Series contender. But, this 1 game, I don't know. I mean, I think it's up in the air.
Well, how about your bullpen the last week and a half? Outstanding.
It has been, and it's been a lot better since the trade, bringing in Hudson, obviously.
Hudson's been great. Doolittle's been very good.
He's healthy again. Yep.
Yeah, even your boy Fernando Rodney.
The only thing with Rodney is that Martinez, and I know he'll do that in the 1 game, is he's got to avoid putting Rodney in the game like in the 8th inning. Rodney needs to be in the 6th or the 7th inning. That's it. And that's the thing that just – but with Doolittle, with Hudson, Strasburg can pitch an inning. You could probably go Corbin against a lefty. You're not going to need any of those guys once you get past the 6th or 7th. And that's even if Scherzer doesn't pitch well, because he's going to throw 120 pitches. You know it.
Unless he's literally getting shelled.
Which is possible. This is a tough lineup, even with a couple of injuries. I mean, Moose, Grandal, he's been in the postseason a lot.
Yeah.
What if Braun and Kane do play? They're battle-tested in the playoffs.
I don't think they're playing.
All right, well.
Braun's definitely not playing.
Okay.
Kane could play. Also, another guy for you to keep an eye on for you is Tony Sipp, who has the experience with the Astros too.
Oh, why? Is he with the Brewers now?
Oh, he's with the Year Boys.
No, he is. And he hasn't been with us for like 2 or 3 months.
Oh, and my bad.
Yeah, we got rid of him, which is a good thing. What about the relievers when we take a look? Who do you trust the most in this 1-game wild card? Pagan, Hendricks, Hader, or Hudson / Doolittle? I mean, I think most people would take Hader, but you tell me.
Hader.
I agree.
I mean, again, I was just stunned, absolutely stunned with the Hilliard home run. So I can't imagine.
Psychologically could impact him if he's in that spot again.
Either
sure.
So it could make him, throw 106 miles an hour and hit a guy, or it could make him zone in more. So
I don't know if it matters with the Nationals. I mean, it when the Cubs eliminated the Nationals, Wade Davis was like on his 3rd inning and like his 50th pitch, and one of the guys he struck out in the last batter or 2 was the one and only Bryce Harper. That strikeout was the nail for me, the nail in the head when if they wanted to move on from Harper, I was okay with it. I didn't want him to go, but if they did, that was the moment that sealed it. It said, you can't hit. I don't care how good he is. You can't hit a guy like on his 40th or 50th pitch who hasn't probably done that in years, and you're supposed to be a superstar and you strike out.
That was game 5. That was a
me?
crazy baseball.
And they did the same thing with Jansen. Jansen pitched like over 2 or 3 innings in that crazy game, that elimination game. So, yeah, Hader could probably go out there and throw 3 innings and 60 pitches, and the Nats won't be able to hit him. And if that happens again, I'm done.
I don't think that's the move for them. I don't think that he's gonna do that. I don't think they're gonna.
I hope not. I hope they don't even have to bring him in.
Well, look,
I don't think my heart could deal with him.
He's gonna pitch
in that
the
situation.
game, even if they're up 6-0, he's gonna pitch in the game.
That's true. I was going over it. I have, out of my teams in hockey, the NBA, NFL, and baseball, I have not enjoyed a playoff series or one playoff win to move on in 6 years.
What's your hockey team?
Vancouver. So I have Vancouver, the Nationals, the Nets, who now have Durant and Irving.
And the Jets.
6 years since I've had one. This is I'm 24 hours, 36 hours away from an opportunity. I don't care if it's only a game. I just want a taste of what it feels like to win a playoff series again. So we'll see. All right, let's move on quickly because we're already we got about 5 or 6 minutes left. So let's go to the playoff in general. Starting the American League, Yankees, Minnesota, Houston against the wild card team. Who do you like in the AL to win it all, and why?
I like the Yankees to beat the Twins, probably 3-1, pending Paxton's health. Let me make that perfectly clear. Pending Paxton's
that could
health.
Be big.
He's been near perfect the last 10 starts, winning 9 of them. He's been incredible. Severino, now I know he's only thrown 12 innings since he's come back.
But that's huge to get him
and
back.
Also, it is big, but he also has an awful track record in the postseason.
Good point.
I think he's hot right now, and I think that he turns that around. He lowers that godly 6.3 postseason ERA. I like the Yankees 3-1s. I like Houston. I've been drinking out of the Houston Cup. Take it back is their hashtag. I'm going to be picking them heavily in a minute. First team, get this. First team since the 2005 Astros, and only the second team since the Millennium turn to have 3 starters under 3 with a minimum of 16 starts, something like that. And obviously, they're going to have the Cy Young. They're going to have the runner-up in the Cy Young. And then Greinke's going to finish 4th in the Cy Young.
It is incredible. It's incredible.
It was Clemens, Oswalt, and Pettit. And then the 2002 A's with Zito, Mulder, Hudson. Other than that, hasn't happened since 2000. I think it was the 96, 95 Braves were the time before that. And then it doesn't even include their lineup. Now, I know Correa got pulled again. He's got a back injury. Doesn't bother me. I think Houston just steamrolls whoever they play in from the wild card, and I like them.
I would say this. I think that clearly, in my opinion, the A's have a better shot at Houston than Tampa.
Well, they know them better. They've seen them 19 times, so that plays a big role.
And they've had success against them.
They have had success, but once these guys get into playoff form,
I'm not trying to say. I mean, look, the A's are a much better shot against Houston, I believe, than the Yankees. Because the Yankees, it's just like we can't beat them no matter what. We can't beat the Yankees. So it's sort of like the Twins.
Houston's also don't forget. Not for nothing. The Yankees had a chance. They had the number 1 seed locked up. They had it. It was theirs. They lost 4 of the last 5. Houston's won 12 of 14. I mean, it was the Yankees to take. Yeah. And that, you could say what you want, but having the Yankees playing the wild card team and just having maybe the Twins get to beat up on the Astros for a game or two, at least make them throw an extra start. Because if the Astros could sweep 3-0 and then be right ready for Verlander, Cole, Greinke again. instead of having to maybe throw Verlander twice.
All right. Well, we both like Houston in the American League, which I think a lot of people are agreeing with us there. Even though the Yankees are still the Yankees and they still have an
The
offense.
lineup's outstanding. The lineup's
Yeah,
unbelievable. Don't get
but
me wrong. They're also banged up as can be
yeah,
still.
there's still a bunch of injuries for the Yankees. They have absolutely no starting pitching, and at least you mentioned the Astros top 3, and let's not forget the Astros. Talk about offense. I mean, they're loaded offensively too.
I mean, they got the problem. In my opinion, the American League. Well, okay. Let me make it abundantly clear that Trout could be the MVP every year, but if it's not Trout, Bregman.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're loaded up. The only question mark for me, and we've talked about it all year, is closing Osuna, big spot. Not sure. I know these clutch hitters have come through for Houston, and some of the pitchers haven't seen it, though, in the bullpen with Osuna. That's it. I'm nitpicking, but that's it. Let's go to the National League, and you've got the Braves, St. Louis, Dodgers versus Wild Card. Who's your pick?
I like the Braves over the Cardinals for one weird reason, and the weirdest reason is that Flaherty had to pitch Sunday to get them the division, so it sets them back already that he won't be able to throw till like Game 3, which is a shame because I think the Game 1-2 matchups favor the probable. Again, they have neither team's released their starters. I'm just going off of what I looked. Who pitched when? Soroka should probably go Game 1, Keuchel Game 2, and then versus Mikolas and Hudson, who's been good. Hudson's been really good, won 6 of his last 7. But I like Keuchel's.
Yeah, but don't they get how many? Don't they have like 4 days off?
They play on Thursday.
Yeah, so I mean, he could pitch Game 2, right?
Could pitch Game 2, but I'm not sure they're going to do that.
All right.
I don't know if it's rushing him for Game 2 versus.
Well, I like Atlanta as well, and because
and I like Atlanta's lineup. Acuna, is
much better than St. Louis's offense. Much better.
Thompson's gonna play, so I think I mean, and the Braves
and our boy Foltynewicz.
Folty,
yes,
4 of 5 is coming back from AAA, man.
He's red hot. He might be the hottest pitcher in all of baseball.
Comeback story of the year. Well, Mania too.
So there you go. So yeah, the Braves, they can go through. I feel confident with Soroka, Folty, and Dallas Keuchel.
This could be a 3-2 series. Difference is their best pitcher, who without question is going to be a top 4 Cy Young finisher in Flaherty, is probably only going to go once in the series.
Well,
maybe out of the bullpen in Game 5. Maybe if they get to 5. But that's what I'm saying. Soroka, Keuchel, those guys could probably each. Soroka could definitely go 2.
All right, so who are you going to take then? Dodgers over Atlanta, or
Dodgers over Atlanta? Dodgers over Atlanta again. It comes down to the pitching. At some point, Kershaw is going to have that series. He's got to. I've been saying it for a couple of years. I think this is the year. Buehler was really good in the postseason.
Oh, yeah.
With his starts, really good with a sub 3.8 ERA. Ryu's going to be the Cy Young runner-up probably this year. He's been just absolutely outstanding, low 2.3s ERA. He's also been pretty solid in the postseason as well. The big thing is Turner. Will he play in the NLDS? Shouldn't really affect him that much. He will be back for the NLCS regardless, I believe. Verdugo is out for the NLDS. Turn for the NLCS if they make it.
All right, so who's your pick then to win it all? You've got L.A. over Atlanta. You've got Houston over the Yankees. And I'm assuming you're going Houston over the Dodgers.
I am going Houston over the Dodgers. It's going to be, I believe, better. It should. Well, first of all, it was one of the best series in playoff history when they played in the World Series 2 years ago. I am hitting Houston with everything I've got. I already have them at 7-1. I'm going to hit them. I'm going to put 500 more on them at 2-1, and that's the only play I'm making as of right now before the NLCS. But I think Houston 2-1 can't get any better than that. To me, I'm holding the cup. Take it back. They've got it.
All right, so that puts you at 1,700 for Houston with an investment of 1,000. So right now, if Houston wins the World Series, you're up 700. Not bad. And if Atlanta wins the World Series, you're up 2,900.
Yeah, buddy.
Right now, I've got the 3 teams, 1,500 invested. So if Washington wins, it's 3,200. If Atlanta wins, it's 20. No, it's 1,900.
Where's Jim Mora? Where's Jim Mora when you need him? Playoffs?
And,
World Series?
And the Dodgers,
game.
I've got 1,500. Now, I haven't yet taken Houston, but that's because I believe I can wait. I don't think those 2-1 odds are going to get much lower for at least another week. So I'll probably put a lot of money on Houston next week.
You think it'll be? You don't think it might be 3-2?
Not after like a game in the NLDS. I mean the ALDS.
But probably after the first series.
Especially, let's say, if the Yankees beat Houston in Game 1. Well, then all of a sudden, wait a second, the odds might actually go to 3-1. So that's why I'm going to wait a little bit just in case. And I want to see how things go too for a few games.
I'm all for the Yankees taking Game 1 in that series. I'll just double down again. Why not?
That's my point. So that's exactly the way that we would want it to go. Not that Verlander would pitch poorly though. We would want it to be like 0-0 into the ninth inning or something like that.
Remember, it's like I just said with the Dodgers and with other teams. If by some remarkable way that becomes a 5-game series, that changes everything for the next series because Verlander again will probably not be able to go till Game 3. They'll have already used
good point. Yep.
Verlander and Cole in 4 and 5 most likely. And again, all these scenarios are subjects
maybe
to
Greinke
change.
pitches Game 1, and if that happens, heck, I could easily see him losing Game 1. You know that? Especially against the Yankees. Sure. Greinke's the one guy that I'd be a little bit he needs to prove himself in the postseason. I'm not and Cole too, to tell you the truth.
True, but don't forget how these guys right now, they're just going out.
You never know. You know how it is. Postseason's different.
These guys, first of all, the 3 of them combined, just those 3 guys combined, won more than 4 teams in baseball.
Hey, that's the best staff and best top 3. I get it.
Like I said, since 2005, there hasn't been. And I remember everybody was like, "Oh, remember the Tigers with Price and Verlander and Scherzer?" None of those guys were even below 3.5 with their ERAs. They were the 3 previous Cy Youngs, but that year they were not.
This is something we've never seen before. Adding to the fact that they're a championship club, adding to the fact that they've got a powerful offense. If it wasn't for the fact that the Yankees and Dodgers have been playing so well, they would be like a Miami Heat in the prime of their dynasty favorite, like minus 700 to 1 before the postseason began to be favored. So I think we are kind of lucky they're 2-1 at this point in time.
I know. That's why when I saw the number this morning, I was like, we're going all in here.
All right, Scott. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week at some point, probably same day, depending on our schedule. And we'll be on before the championship round and of course the World Series.
Yep, sounds great. And looking forward to these. It would have been cool to have that 1-game playoff to watch tonight, but at least we got the crappy 0-3 versus 0-3 Monday Night Football.
What a beauty. Pray for me, Scott, on Tuesday night. Pray for me.
I'll say a few Hail Marys. Okay. I don't know. Today, happy Jewish New Year, everybody.
I'll take it anyway. In any religion, I can take it and get it. Thanks, Scott.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you again next time. Thanks for tuning in to Prime Sports Baseball, Prime Sports Radio Network.